All right, welcome to 2012, guys. It's gonna be a fun year. Right. What a year 2012 is, though. Just think about it. 2012 is a little over, almost 11 and a half hours old right now here. And 2012 has already had a major motion picture made about it. It's already had a bunch of different prophecies made about what's going to happen during it. And it's been talked about for centuries and centuries previous. It probably is the most popular year before the year came about than any other year that's ever come about. I don't think there's any other year that anyone's been there and, basically there was an ancient, the ancient Mayan civilization was talking about 2012, probably before Christ. Pretty interesting, pretty crazy. And so that clip is from the movie 2012, which we completely stole the graphics from. I know. We're cheesy like that, right? But it's funny to think about it, because that scene is them. It's the family. They're trying to escape LA because basically, they always make the jokes that California is going to fall into the Pacific Ocean, and that's actually what happens in the movie. California basically falls into the Pacific Ocean, and so there's all this chaos, all this calamity, and it's all stemming from this Mayan prophecy, this calendar and this prophecy that was made by an ancient civilization in South America. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that a civilization that wasn't even known of until probably it was in the midway through the 1500s, wasn't even known that it existed, is now creating all this hubbub that's in magazines and newspapers. Talk shows are about it. And I'll be honest, I don't think the end of the world's going to come in 2012. I'll be completely honest. I'm not that much of a kook, so any of you guys ever worried there for a second, just, it's okay. I'm not that crazy. I'm pretty crazy, but not that crazy. But it got me thinking, because the whole thing stems from this Mayan calendar, which for some reason ends in 2012. The date actually is December 21st, 2012. And who knows why the calendar ends there? Did the guy who wrote the calendar happen to just come up with something, say that he thought the world wouldn't make it that far? It was like 2012, wow, that'd be ridiculous if it got that far. Or maybe it's just his hand got tired. That's what I really think. I think his hand got tired, he got writer's cramp in his hand, and he just was like, forget this, I'm done, right? I've done too many years up to this point. Right? But because of it, everyone from Joe Schmo to Nostradamus has made a prediction about what's going to happen in 2012. For a lot of us, it's that all these people who are believing this are just nut jobs. But I was on a couple websites, and in fact, on one of these websites, for those of you who really want it, you can go get your End of the World 2012 t-shirt for $15 from this one website, all right? So, and you guys that want it, it's there. My big question was, why are they selling them if money's going to be no good within 12 months? $15 just seems really steep for a shirt that's not going to, for the money that's not going to mean anything in 12 months' time. It just seems stupid to sell it. Why not just give it away? Why not be generous for your last 12 months of your life? But just saying, it kind of goes against what you're talking about. But you go on this website, and there's 50 to 100 different celebrity faces that come up in front of your face. And I know celebrities are definitely the people we want to take our nods on philosophy and the end of the world and all. But there's a lot of people that are buying into this. A lot of people are talking about it. It's all over the news and all over the newspapers. I'm pretty sure every one of the major magazine publications has had a front page about the end of the world coming in 2012. Is it true? Could it be possible? I don't think so, to be completely honest. But I got to be thinking a couple of weeks ago, what if all this was true? What if 12/21/12 really was the end of everything that we know? What if everything you've seen today, everything you see right now, everything you saw last night, every person you've talked to, come in contact with, everything, by the time 2013 would roll around, is no longer here? What if? Put yourself in that scenario for a second. What would you do in 2012 if you knew that 2013 wasn't going to happen? That 2013 wasn't guaranteed to you? What would you do? Would you hang out with your friends? Maybe with your family members? Would you spend more time reconnecting with a loved one that maybe you've kind of gone away from for a little bit? Maybe some of you would go to a place that you really wanted to go. You really wanted to go to Italy or Greece or somewhere. I know my wife does. That's probably where she would try to drag me off to. Italy or Greece or somewhere. And that's what you would do. You would make sure that in that 12 months you got to see everything you wanted to see. Maybe some of you guys would I think, honestly, I might be in this boat. Some of you guys would go like skydiving or something fun, just to say you did it. Alright, just to knock it off the bucket list. Be like, woohoo, flying through the air. Alright? Doesn't matter if the parachute opens, 12 months is gone anyway, so it's, you know, it's best to live for, you know, it's alright. But we all would do crazy things. Some of them may be crazier than others, alright? But we all would do some things that maybe in 2012 this year we wouldn't normally do. I'm getting all tangled up in wires here. I'm pulling a joke, sorry. Alright. But think about your children. Think about your spouse, your friends, your family. Think about everything you wanted to do with your life. If there were only 12 short months left to do all of that stuff, what would you do? Who would you talk to? What would you say to them? That's a big one. What would you say to them if you knew that in 12 short months, it was done? Everything around you would no longer be the same as it was before. Okay, to be completely honest, nowhere in the Bible does it talk about 2012. Okay, so I'm kind of like, you know, working things together here. But it's kind of crazy because none of the New Testament writers would have ever thought, probably, they'd be surprised if they found out that it was 2012 and the world was still here and Christ hadn't returned. They'd be like, really? Because I wrote in my epistles that he was going to come back within the lifespan of some of the people I was writing to. Kind of messed that one up a little bit. Alright? Paul thought that Christ was going to be coming back like tomorrow, basically, when he was writing. He was sure that Christ would be coming back really, really soon. Maybe the other New Testament writers the same way. So while the New Testament doesn't talk anything about 2012, obviously, it does talk a lot about how we can live our lives as if we don't know whether 2013 is guaranteed to us or not. And one of the best spots that is in Ephesians 5, Paul gives in 3 short verses an awesome outline of how we can live our lives as if 2013 is not guaranteed to us. And all he says is, be very careful then how you live, not as unwise but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. Did you catch the cool little phrase in the middle of that? Paul says, make the most of every opportunity. And I think that's exactly what most of us would try to do if we knew that we had 12 months left to live. We try to make the most of every opportunity we have. We make the most of every opportunity to be able to go and head to vacation somewhere, go see a place, hang out with people we saw, reconnect with loved ones. We would make the most of every opportunity. Some of us would go skydiving, some of us might go bungee jumping, alright? But we would try to make the most of every opportunity. We try to live 2012 as if there were no regrets at the end of it. But it's interesting that Paul doesn't just say, make the most of every opportunity, and you figure out what that means. He bookends it with basically saying the same thing on either side of it. He says, be careful how you live your life, not as unwise but as wise, make the most of every opportunity. Don't be foolish, know what the Lord's will is. So he's saying, make the most of every opportunity, but don't be stupid about it in the end. Don't be dumb about this. Don't be foolish. Don't go jump off the side of a bridge with a bungee attached to your legs, because that doesn't always go well for everyone. Be smart about how you make the most of every opportunity. I like to put it this way, that you make the most of every opportunity that matters the most. That's really what Paul is saying. Make the most of every opportunity that matters the most. And so, just think about, what are the things that matter the most to you? My guess is probably there's family. That's probably near the top of the list for most of us. We would want to spend a lot of time with family, maybe with friends. Maybe want to go somewhere. All these things are things that might matter the most to us. But I'm thinking about, what would Paul think? What would Paul's most important thing be? What would he say to make the most of every opportunity of? And honestly, I think that he would say that you need to make the most of every opportunity of every person that you come in contact with. You see, if we really get this, that there's a possibility that 2013 is not guaranteed to us. And there's always an outside shot if that's the case. We have one of two camps that we might live in. The first camp is some of you guys, this might be, I don't know, it could be your first time here, fifth time here, whatever, and you're on this side, you're still kind of checking out Christianity. And you're like, basically, I don't know about this whole God created me, formed me in the womb bit, and so I kind of live my life with the purpose that I try to increase as much pleasure as possible and decrease the pain as much as possible. I try to get by with as little pain and as much pleasure as possible. Then there's some of us that are on this other side, and we believe that God formed us in our mother's womb, that He created us and everything around us, and our purpose is much greater than that. We know that sometimes we have to increase our own pain to ourselves just because that's what God desires of us, to get what He knows is best of His will. Sometimes we know that it's tough before it gets better, that we have to almost decrease our pleasure and increase our pain in order to do what the Word says. We know that there's a purpose behind everything, and that purpose is eternity. So here's really where we're getting with all this, is that I honestly think that Paul would tell us, and I've been convicted, that we should make the most of every opportunity, knowing that every person we talk to, every interaction we have, every conversation, it seems weighty. I don't mean to be a turn or burn type message here, but it basically says that eternity's in the balance. Every person that you buy your coffee from, every person that you talk to on the street, every hi, every bye, every how are you doing, every conversation, every action you make, eternity, for someone, might hang in the balance. You don't know whether the person that just served you your coffee knows who Christ is personally. You don't know whether the person behind you in the coffee line knows Christ as their personal Savior. And if you act out, and because you didn't get the right change, or you had a bad day, and you're cursing, or whatever else, you just go nuts out there, that person, eternity, hangs in the balance for them. And you didn't do anything to make the most of that opportunity. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm awful at this. This is like a daily prayer for me. And I fail at it almost on a daily basis. I can tell you how many times I get into conversations with people, and it's literally like I pray for the opportunity to speak life and Christ in someone's life, and God opens up an opening that you could drive a semi-truck through, basically. It's ridiculous. The guy basically says, like, so you work at a church, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. What do you do for a living? It's right there. But I just sit there and I say, no, that's uncomfortable. I know eternity hangs in the balance for that person. And I know that I might be the only person that's willing to sit there and say, yeah, I work at a church. You should come by sometime. You should hang out. I'll go take you to coffee afterwards or something. We should make a day of it, just kind of talk, and I'd really like to get to know you more. But a lot of times I'm like, yeah, that's great. Take my coffee now. Alright, and I'm off, alright? My things that I'm doing makes me too busy to be able to sit there and just say, yeah, that's cool. And God loves you, by the way. Just as a little end note there. So it's like, but I think, and I hope I'm not the only person, alright? Alright, this is a very scarce auditorium, but if I am, alright? But eternity hangs in the balance. And so, this year, like every year, I'm sure, actually, I'm going to go on the limb. My wife told me not to do this, but I'm going to go on the limb and say that every one of you guys has made a resolution this year. Even if you made a resolution, you made no resolutions, you made a resolution not to make a resolution. Therefore, you still made a resolution. If you don't get that, I'll explain it to you later, alright? It's some high-level logic here, right there, alright? But basically, no matter what, you made a resolution. And all you made was a goal, basically. Something you want to strive towards. And if you're against goals, go back and I can get you the CD for my sermon like 2 times ago that I preached and I talked about goal setting. So we can just do that way, right? But real quick, this year, I just want you to think about what your resolutions are and what that's actually going to end up panning out like. And there's a quick little video I want to just play that just kind of pokes a little fun at this. So Connie, you got this?
This year, I'll spend less time with God.
I will hide my faith from my coworkers.
This year, I will spend more and time less.
I will read the Bible as little as possible.
I will remain silent
when I know I shouldn't speak.
This year,
This year, I will not share my faith with my best friend.
I will shirk leadership responsibilities every chance I get.
I will continue to justify my bad behavior.
and give God my leftovers.
This year,
This year, I will let the busyness of life squeeze God out.
what are you going to do this year? That's really what this whole thing boils down to. It's New Year's Day. What are you going to do this year? This year is going to be full of everything that every year brings. I'm really hoping this year for Marie and I has a little less of the pain side, a little more of the pleasure side. It's been up and down here. I feel like I've been on like the scariest roller coaster ever. But there's going to be good times. There's going to be bad times. There's going to be high points. There's going to be low points. There's going to be things that we're really excited about. There's going to be things that we just kind of get through because we have to. If we got no other choice. There's going to be things that other people are going to be excited about that we end up going, that's awful. That's what I'm thinking about your graduation. I'm not so excited for you. I'm really hoping they make you fail. I'm going to be texting a lot this next semester, all right? A lot of texting, getting you off topic, all right? During school, too. All right? Sorry, Karen, sorry. Okay. Well, what are you going to do this year? You guys have probably made resolutions already. Maybe you haven't. Some of them might be to lose a few pounds, go to the gym more, spend time with your family more, go to church more often, get into a connect group, get into a Bible study. Maybe it's to pray more. Maybe there's really spiritual resolutions you can come up with. They're really cool. You know, I'm going to pray more. I'm going to spend more time with God and things like that. You can have great resolutions here. But honestly, I want to be very bold here, and I want to usurp all of your resolutions here. I know, I want to take number one right off the top right there, okay? Because honestly, if you are planning on living this year, knowing there's an outside shot that this could be the last year that you have to make an impact in others' lives, this should be at the top of your list. This should be more important than your job, than your family, than anything else. This is the most important thing, and that is who and how are you going to influence as many people as possible for Christ this year. See, if 2012 is the end of the world, I don't want us all to have the end of the world come upon us or realize that there's a week left before everything's going to go crazy and realize that I really just blew the last 12 months. I had so many opportunities. I had so many people that all I had to do was pick up the phone. All I had to do was walk into the office. All I had to do was just say, hey, how's it going? And I didn't. And I don't know whether they're going to be walking into eternity with Christ with me or not. Laura, look at me like I don't like Pastor Brian right now at all. I know. It's honestly, I've been mulling over this sermon for 3 weeks, and I'm excited, but it convicted me every single time. It hurts. Because you realize who out of your friends probably doesn't know Christ. Who out of your family probably doesn't know Christ. And it makes it that much more important. How many of your coworkers don't know Christ personally? And so I want to try to take that number one spot for resolutions away. I want to say that our number one resolution, as Paul would want it to be, and as our hearts really, I think in the end, should really want it to be if we truly love those around us, is that we're going to try to have as many people right next to us as we walk into eternity. We're going to try to influence as many people with Christ being at the head of all this and working through it. And we're going to try to make as big an impact as possible over the next 12 months. So here's the really crazy thing. Is you honestly we don't know when Christ is going to return. Christ says himself that he's going to come back like a thief in the night. I have not met at least a good thief who gives you forewarning of when he's coming back, when he's coming. He doesn't sit there and say, hey, so I'm going to be breaking into your house about 1 a.m. on the 12th. So yeah, just be quiet, be asleep, that'll be great. I'll just take the flat screen out, it'll be great, all right? No thief does that. He sits there and it's the element of surprise. That's the whole idea behind being a thief. So anyone who wants to be a thief, I gave you the whole plan of it all right? But it's all an element of surprise thing. God could come back, Jesus could come back tomorrow, to be completely honest. There's as much of a probability of him coming back tomorrow as there is on the 12/21/12. It could be next week, it could be next month, it could be next year, it could be in the year 3085. I have no clue. All I know is that we need to live our lives as if 2012 may as well be the last year that we have to make an influence. Maybe the last year that we have to really influence people for eternity. And in the end, I think if we really think about it, that goes beyond a job. That goes beyond even a lot of our own family members, because a lot of our own family members are saved individuals in a lot of ways. But it really makes it important about the person who gives you your Starbucks, the person at McDonald's who gives you your things. So let's try this year to live 2012 as if 2013 is just, it's not guaranteed to us. As if February 1st is not guaranteed to us. Let's live this year, go out away from here, knowing that 2012, that might as well be it. In my mind, this is the last 12 months that I've got to make an influence. And if I get more than that, then oh happy day, I get more time to make an influence. But I might as well assume that all I have is today, or tomorrow, or this year.